far so good.
Okay.
International traveler.
This semester, I studied at Dublin City University in Ireland, and it went a little something like this. I spent 4 months of my life in arguably the greenest country in the world, and I had the time of my life. It was a daunting experience traveling across the world to a foreign land where I knew nobody and nothing except the fact that my mommy wasn't going to be there to cook for me. I basically went into this experience blind, so I had no choice but to embrace the unknown by diving into it head first, hoping that I didn't immediately drown. Fortunately, I was warmly greeted by 14 other Americans in my program who came from all over the country. New York, California, Oregon, and Georgia are just some of their origins that made this geographic diversity an experience in itself. But we all bonded over our culture shock of riding double-decker buses on the wrong side of the road and paying for bottles of wine in euros rather than US dollars. At first, I didn't explore too much beyond the kitchen in Purcell House and the journey to a pub down the street. But we all slowly became more comfortable with the city and began to venture into places further than campus. Trips to city center became a weekly voyage where we really got to explore the ins and outs of Dublin. From museums and statues of Oscar Wilde, to various parks and ports to watch the sunset during the golden hour, to pubs, and more pubs. I will say the drinking culture in Ireland really does hold true to its stereotype. Nights that began with a few bottles of Rivera wine took us to places we never thought we would end up. But honestly, going out and exploring Dublin's nightlife was one of the best ways to meet new people. Someone asked me once why I came to Ireland, and I jokingly replied, "Adventure and alcohol, duh." Although this answer seems quite obtuse and sarcastic, there's actually some depth to it that I found to be true of my time abroad. I came to Ireland to make as many wild, outrageous, and unforgettable memories as I possibly could, and well, adventure and alcohol has gotten me to do just those things. I once went to a Gaelic football match with a friend, and we accidentally rooted for the wrong team the entire duration of the game. But don't worry, we didn't find out we lost until we walked all the way out of the stadium. I spent a little too much time at places like this and McDonald's. But don't worry, it was nothing that a few gummy vitamins couldn't fix. I've almost got hit by a car too many times to count because I simply never learned pedestrians' rights in this country. I also didn't do things like this as much as I probably should have. I realized that most of these adventures involve me being stupid and losing unnecessary amounts of money. But it was worth every penny, or euro for this matter. But I truly learned something new about the Irish culture every single time I stepped foot outside my bedroom. The Irish are a rare breed of people who don't seem to take life too seriously. They're a bunch of quick-witted, pint-drinking lads who are all fiercely proud of where they come from. They're passionate about their history and tradition, but also open to teaching you about the roots that made them who they are. Since they only exist as about 6 million people, they value life in a way that encourages small talk and getting to know one another. They spend a lot of time laughing at pubs because the sun doesn't shine for more than a few hours each day, but the dim weather doesn't dim their energy in the slightest. Irish people have a knack for showing you a good time, or having great crack as they would call it. Because of their quite literally troubled history over their fight for liberation from the UK, the Irish people have been taught to live very unapologetically as themselves. Having a simple conversation with someone from Ireland is fun for many reasons. First of all, the Irish accent is one I could listen to all day. Their favorite member of One Direction has to be Niall Horan if you ask them. Their style consists mostly of GAA jerseys and fuzzy coats, plus at least one article of clothing from Penneys. and they emphasize the important things in life, like dancing to traditional Irish music and cheering for your favorite sports team at a pub. I really do think I got a true, authentic Irish experience from my time abroad. I got to see the green side of Ireland, from Giant's Causeway up in the north where the wind was so strong that it literally knocked me off my feet, over to Wicklow Mountains on the east coast where it was so serene and breathtaking that it looked like I was living in a postcard picture. I got to learn about the rich and recent history about Northern Ireland during a black taxi tour in Belfast, where a man who lived through the Troubles in the 70s taught us about the ongoing tensions between the Catholics and Protestants, to the point where a literal wall still exists between the city today. I got to do all the quintessential tourist traps when my family and friends came over to visit, like the Guinness Storehouse and a paddy wagon tour to the infamous Cliffs of Moher. And I got to experience St. Patrick's Day in the land where it all started.
What's the tea?
So much green!
I think I actually saw more Americans than Irish people in Dublin that day, because everyone over here thinks it's the ultimate bucket list item to check off in Ireland. I swear I actually ran into a girl I went to middle school with on the streets that weekend. Oh, Americans. Oh, and I finally got to pet a sheep. So thanks, Ireland. I also had to take advantage of being in Europe by attempting to explore as much of the continent as I could while they were stuck with me. I made my way through 8 other countries aside from Ireland, starting with Paris, France. My friends and I sauntered through the Louvre Museum to see the Mona Lisa, shimmied under the Arc de Triomphe, and ended the night drinking wine as we sat under the Eiffel Tower and watched her twinkle at night. So it was a pretty quiet, tame trip. Just kidding, it got crazy up in this bitch. Next I went to London with some friends in my program, and we got to take the most iconic photo of my entire life on Abbey Road recreating the Beatles pose. Not to mention the London Bridge, the London Eye, and Buckingham Palace. And in Buckingham,
We all fam.
At the end of the semester, I took a chaotic 2-week trip to 6 different countries, traveling with just a backpack and living in hostels. Needless to say, it stunk. The first stop was Brussels, Belgium, famously known for Belgian waffles, French fries, and the Atomium. Weirdly known for cool gardens and the Smurfs. Then we went to Copenhagen and Denmark the next day, where we were greeted at our hostel by a disco ball and live music. The vibe of this city was unmatched by its laid-back aura. From the people to the overall landscape, I just wanted to exist in that atmosphere forever. But just a day later, we were off to an entirely different aesthetic of Prague, Czech Republic. This city had the feeling of an alternate universe. The quirky pastel buildings, the lavish desserts and drinks, and all the various characters we encountered crossing the bridge and the Old Town Square really brought us into this amusement park of a city. The next stop was in Budapest, Hungary a few days later, where bodies of water seemed to dominate this trip. From a boat party that floated along the river, to a paddleboat ride through the lake, over to the infamous thermal baths, it was a wet few days. After that, we wandered over to Rome and Italy, where we shared the best meal of our entire lives, simply consisting of pizza and wine, but it was Italian pizza and wine. It just hit different. And we also stumbled upon the Trevi Fountain, the Colosseum, and the Spanish Steps. But that Italian wine. My last stop was in Lisbon, Portugal, known for its beaches, its hilly steps, and cheap sangria. We had the best of both worlds with this country because we got to wander around an exhausting city all day, and then come lay out by the beach or drift away in a hammock in our hostel. This semester truly was a once-in-a-lifetime experience where I got to explore depths of the world I never dreamed of, and I got to meet people who I never thought I would have the chance to bond with. The friendships I made in the past 4 months were hands down the best parts of my whole Ireland adventure. We all formed such strong friendships with one another right from the start, mostly because we all entered the country completely alone, with no one to lean on but each other. Each friend I met taught me a little something about life, and I'm grateful to each and every one of them. Brandy from Boston taught me how to be unapologetically yourself, and to stand up for things you're passionate about, like SpongeBob and dogs. Angie from Roma, Texas taught me how to treat yourself to life's small pleasures, and to enjoy all the little things in life, like dumplings from Sansab. Sam from Charleston, South Carolina taught me how to surround yourself with fun people as much as I can, because the days feel brighter when you're in constant good company. Annabelle from Atlanta, Georgia taught me that a glass of wine and some good snacks are a great way to spend an entire weekend with the right person. Paulina from Sweden taught me how to see people for their hearts, to treat everyone you meet with kindness, and to show them all how to have an unforgettable time. Jess from Germany taught me how to forgive people, even when it's not always the easiest choice. She also showed me how to dance in the kitchen without a care in the world. Colm from Boston taught me the art of spontaneity. You never know where a day could lead you, but it's exciting as hell to find out when you keep an open mind and a young heart. I could go on and on about everyone else that I met, but this video is already too long. Long story short, I met some of the best people of my life in Dublin, and I'll always cherish the memories we got to create together. 'Twas the greatest crack of my life.